Hey guys, hope you're all well and welcome to another video. And in today's video, we're going to be finally doing a review and a in-depth sort of what I love and hate about this Skyline. This is my R31, so I've had a lot of people ask me when you're going to get the 31 on the channel and do some in-depth videos on it. So I thought, stuff it, you know, let's finally do it. It's a crappy day at this undisclosed location, but we're here and let's drive it. This is my beloved 1990 R31 Skyline. It is a GX model, factory manual, factory LSD. It is not a silhouette. I painted the two-tone. It's got, that's a factory color, which I've buffed. That's completely original, that color. I do apologize. It is a bit muddy as the road I came in here was very muddy. This is my pride and absolute joy. I've had this car for about, it'd been nearly 7 years now, and she has never let me down. Honestly, she's never let me down. She is one of my favorite cars I've ever owned, out of the many I've had, and she is just an absolute treat to drive. So I'll start from the front, work my way down to the back, and I'll show you what's done to it, and then we'll go take it for a drive, show you some exhaust clips, and what it's like to have an R31 and what it's like to own one from 7 years ago to what they're worth and how it is owning one now. So let's start. So up the front here, we have the HR31 projectors, which I got very cheap back in the day. These are worth a pretty penny now, and I got these for 150 bucks, and they're absolutely mint. There's no rusting inside the chrome bezel there. Same on this side. The front bar is off my mate's coupe. It's actually a coupe front bar. It's got the little air intake here for where the side mount cooler would be. The front lip I actually made by cutting the top section of an old S3 bar I had and rejoining at the bottom and split in the middle, which I have cracked. That was from a track day, and I've broken it over here somewhere as well. I clipped a dirt mount at a track day. So that's pretty much it for the cosmetics on the front. Blacked out indicators, nothing really special. Moving down to the side, so the wheels, we have a Volk 3-piece racing wheels from the 80s. They are genuine wheels, and I got them pretty cheap. I just had to rebuild them. They are 15 by 7.5, and they have an offset of 30. So they're not great offsets, but they're a pretty cool wheel. The fronts have a 195, and the rears probably look a little bit skinnier. They have a 185 because I like to do that when we go drifting. But usually I have a 205 on the back, just a bit of meatier tire. But at the moment I've just got the 185. So side skirts, so I get asked this a lot. Now these are off a Cressida. I brought these a few years ago and I had to shorten them. And you can sort of see in here, sorry it's full of mud, but I just shortened them, made a little L bracket inside here, and they tuck up across there. They actually bolt right to the factory mud flap hole, which is quite cool. So they're off a Cressida. I think they're off a 73, MX 73. Coming up to the roof, we have a cut roof louver. I actually got this for free. Got the whole louver for free, as the bottom here was broken, and just did the old cut and turned it into a roof wing. And I think looks pretty cool. People have been doing it for probably since 31s came out in Australia. Also, this is Australian delivered, as it has a pillar. All the passages, which are the 4 doors without pillars, they came with RB20. And the coupes, of course, RB20. And all the Australian delivered came with the RB30E. Never came turbo. They never ever came turbo. Only the RB30s and the VLs came turbo, just to let everybody know. So around the back here, we have the Series 3 hot plates with the Skyline decal on the back. Series 2 silhouette wing. I've always wanted to go Series 3 wing, but I do like the lip. It's cool. Always wanted to do a coupe ducktail. Got my handy tow bar. I had to pull this out of my front lawn because it got bogged. And we have a 3-inch stainless exhaust all the way to the cat. Now in the rear, I don't know if you can see, but you can't really see. There's one caliper there and another caliper in there somewhere, down there. Now this has a dual caliper RB factory setup. It's got a 411 mini spool diff in it, and it's a hydro. So I'll show you that in the interior shots in a minute. Pretty much for the outside, that's about it. If you have any more questions, just let me know in the comments if I've missed something. I've had this car for that long, I forget what's done to it. So front end suspension. Front end suspension, we have S13 front end conversion, very common. JIC coilovers, R33 lower control arms, just that little bit extra lock. White line front and rear sway bars, oversized. Can't remember the sizings exactly, but they are white lines. I put them on years ago. That's pretty much cosmetic wise. So I reckon we get under the hood or the bonnet and we have a look at what's going on there. Nothing really special, but I'll show you what's going on there. So under the bonnet, we have nothing really spectacular. Pretty much standard looking. We got our pod filter over here. We get our 3 to 2 to 1 extractors. These are Hurricane extractors. So when I bought this car, the story was I bought this car 7 years ago, and it was actually turbocharged. It was making 220 kilowatt on 10 pound. So, sorry, 12 pound, my bad, 12 pound. Now, you can sort of see a relic that it's been turboed, as the radiator support would come out here, but it's been cut. If you have a look, it's been cut where the cooler used to be. So that's the only relic that you can tell that this thing was turbo. And obviously the bungs in the side of the block down there. You're probably all wondering, what is this? What is this? This is a factory cruise control, and it works. It works, not very well, but it works. So you see it runs off a vacuum module that goes to a cable, and then that pulls the throttle down here, and now the linkage, and that's your cruise control. You can see I got a lot of slack on my cable, so it doesn't really work that well. I've got to adjust it all. The good thing about it is that he done some work to the engine. So it has ARP studs. It has a 818B cam. So 818B is a GDS2 cam, I'm pretty sure. We're putting the police cars, and I have confirmed that as well. As you can see the engraving on the end of the cam when I took the cam out of it. I did the lifters probably about 5-6 years ago, so that's how I sort of knew, and I thought that was pretty special. Just a standard RB30 gearbox in it. Has a one-piece tail shaft, which is really good, less likely to break center bearings. These things go through center bearings like no tomorrow. And obviously have the camber adjustments on the front, and this wire going into the guard or the strut tower, that is for my my neon lights. As you can see, there's a strip here. So nothing too crazy under there, and I think we should smash into the interior side of things now. All right, so interior wise, we have a Series 2 silhouette interior, which I completely changed when I had one of my old silhouettes. This used to have the ugly brown interior, but I put the whole silhouette interior in there, minus the back, which I still have inside. We'll get to that in a minute. So, for center console, we don't really have much going on here. My mate Ushan made me this billet shifter, so mad props to him. That's been sick for the track. I've got the stock one in the glove box. Over here you can probably see a hydraulic handbrake. This is a GK Tech inline hydro. I do have dual caliper rear end, so I still got to hook up the dual caliper setup, but this has been what I've been running for the last probably 6 months to 8 months, I think, and it's actually worked an absolute treat, better than the stock handbrake. The stock handbrake's tucked away over here somewhere, so I can still use that and mount it back up when I put the hydro back in there. So just some Sony speakers, decent sound system, Kenwood head unit, and had some tweeters down there which I took out. But it's actually in really good condition, the interior. Just needs a bit of a clean up. So in the back of the car here, we have a Merlot Fabrications half cage, a bolt-in half cage, which is Vic Drift approved. This is actually really easy to install, and it's been a treat. I've actually never done a track day with it in there. I'm just waiting, but all this coronavirus bullshit, it's sort of ruined that. So what can you do? But taking the rear seats and the seat belts out, and just the trims at the back here, but left all the door cars and everything in, as I still want it to be somewhat street car. Something I also forgot to mention was I have the factory Venetian blinds in there, which I got for free as well. Got a lot of good deals with this car, and back in the day you could get all this stuff for free, and it's a bit different now. So I think I'll stop baffling on about the car. I've shown you mostly everything I can think of off the top of my head. And what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to take you guys for a drive in it, and we'll hear a bit of an exhaust note. I'll talk more in the car about, you know, what I love about it, what I hate about it, and talk to you about a few issues she has at the moment. And also this thing sounds grouse with the exhaust. It pops and crackles because it's running a bit rich at the moment, as it has a dead spot in the RPM, so it backfires off its head. It usually backfires a lot, but it's doing it a bit more than normal now, so it's pretty cool. But hope you like this little segment of just my little intro of the car, and I hope you love her, because she's a good character in my life, and I wouldn't trade her for the world. So even absolutely filthy, she looks beautiful. So enough crapping on. I'll jump in the car with you, and well, actually, first of all, I'll start it up and I'll show you how it sounds. Alrighty, we are leaving said this undisclosed location. So while we're just puttering away, I'll go through a couple of things of what I love about the car. Number one thing I love about this R31 Skyline, by the way, I've had around 10 of them, and this one's my first, and this one's my favorite because for 7 years, I've changed the battery, I've changed the alternator, and that's it. And just regular servicing. And I tell everyone, this is the most reliable car I've ever driven in my entire life. It just never lets me down. And you watch it break down now, knowing my luck. Now I might pull over and talk to you a bit more because I don't know if the noise is going to be too much for the camera. So I'll pull over and I'll talk to you a little bit more about the car. And then we'll get some cool exhaust shots and some driving action. All right guys, so I pulled up the road just a little bit further and there's this cool scenic little area. I should have shot the intro here, but I thought I'll get out and actually talk to you about what I love about the car. So like I said, the character and the reliability is number one. The styling, I love boxy cars. I love just boxes, washing machines, fridges, whatever you want to call it. Some people call it a floating door wedge. I don't know, it's just something about this style. And you look at R31 into R32 and how much it changed, and it's just so cool. So apart from that, this was my first car I had. My 180 was the first car I owned. This was the first car I had when I got my license. So it's very special to me in that sense. And those are probably the top 3 things that I love about this car. But if you're looking to get an R31, like I said, reliability is pretty good. Very little going on in the ignition system. Usually the crank angle sensors go bust in these things. Fuel system's just the pump and the filter, just like a normal car. Everything else is pretty okay. Sometimes the pressure regs go in them. Never had that issue for 7 years. Another thing is I can take it, I trust this car on long distance drives more than any other car I own. And she's been a treat. She's been everywhere. She's been in the snow. She's been, you know, cross country. She's been in the mud. She's been in 4-wheel drive tracks. I kid you not, she's been in 4-wheel drive tracks. I've taken it absolutely everywhere around the state and never missed a beat. The thing I love about it the most is I got it for $1,000 7 years ago, and it was turbo ready, manual, pretty clean. And I might put on the screen of what it looked like and then what it looks like today when I brought it and what it looks like today. And you can't find anything like that anymore. And I haven't paid ever $1,000 for any 31 I've owned. It's just times have changed. These things are so expensive now. I always told myself I would sell this car and get a coupe, but I couldn't sell a car. I'd just buy a coupe as well, because coupe is my dream, but this thing is staying with me. Okay, now the things I don't like about the car. Apart from the ride is rough. Little things here and there, a couple of things don't work. Cigarette light, just little stuff like that, you know, just little small stuff. It's very bouncy. It does get a lot of attention from police. I've been pulled over in this more than my other turbo cars, even when I was driving on my P plates. A lot of the things I dislike about the car are things that I've done to it, so it's not the car's fault. Like, I've turned it pretty much into a street legal, not a street legal, but a street driven track car. So all the daily characteristics and all the, you know, comfort aspect of the car is almost completely gone, but it does still tow. And I'll show you a photo on the screen of it towing my my old school Falcon home, which my 4-wheel drive didn't want it because my 4-wheel drive blew a motor. Fuel economy ever since I put the 411 diff is pretty atrocious. Especially the fact that it's running rich at the moment. I'll have to address that problem later. I do have some issues with it in terms of, I think the spark plugs are all fouled because it's got a dead spot in the RPM. I went out drifting last weekend with it and it had a dead spot in the RPM, and it just had no power in second and third gear. And it should be spinning second and third easy with a 411, easy in the wet. Now, being a little bit older than like an S chassis or an R32 or an R33, you definitely feel the oldest when you drive it. If you want comfort, go buy yourself a TI. They're pretty comfortable if you just leave them stock standard with a nice set of springs and just drive them. Leave them automatic and just cruise. They are one of the comfiest Skylines you can buy. Now, another thing I don't like about it is it's actually pretty ballsy for a 3-litre inline-six, but it needs more power. So what we're going to be doing with this is we're going to be doing 3076 Garrett and just do like a budget turbo build. That's been my plan for the last 7 years, and I think we're going to smash that out very soon. And this thing's been lacking power, and I think it's time to definitely transform it into a bit of a monster. So they're just a couple of things I like and dislike about the car. I could go on for a long time about different things, but I don't want to make this video boring, so I reckon we get out and we'll do some driving clips. Also, I am rubbing on this guard. As you can see, it's peeled the paint here. That's okay, I'm a painter, I can fix that. But we're rubbing into the tyre pretty harsh there, as you can see. So I'm gonna take it around the twisties in a minute, but I'm not gonna be too harsh on her. And then we'll get some exhaust clips on the back. So another thing I hate is sometimes the fuel gauge works. You gotta hit the dash for it to work sometimes when it comes up. The coolant temperature works. As you can see, if I go on a straight line, my steering wheel's at an angle, so I got to straighten that out and get an alignment. You can see by how bumpy it is in here, I'm just cruising down the road really slowly. Another thing you may notice, I got no speedometer. So I think one of the speedo wires were broke when I did the clutch in it, so I got to fix that. The rev tacho is off. This cluster is out of a Pintara, so the tacho's slightly off. But you can see the cruise control switches there. It says park brakes enabled when it's not. And my door light flickers on all the time, but it's not doing it now. Nothing really else I can fault, you know, we've got manual windows, so less stuff to go wrong. We've got no center console. Yeah, it does get a bit noisy because we've got no center console, and in the back here we've got really no soundproofing. But at the same time, I do like the whole track feel. The only thing is you do smell a little bit of gearbox oil occasionally when you're throwing it hard into a corner. We do have the ashtray and stuff. It's got a little thermometer thing here. It's not factory, but it's pretty weird. All right, let's get her out into the main road and go for a little drive. Are you guys okay? Oh no. I think you guys fell off. Ooh, which way are you shooting? This way? This way. Oh, we didn't break a lens. Thank God. I've had to full do a sprint for you. I knew it was going to come off. Alright guys, so my poor GoPro fell off twice. The first time I did it with this 31, the exhaust clips, it didn't fall off at all, and I was going through some pretty hard corners. I think the bumper's just too dirty. Lucky for these shockproof covers and these lens covers on these cameras, it's still pretty well preserved. I wish I could show you guys, but no cracks on the lenses I can see. No, okay, we're good. But yeah, that was some exhaust clips of the car, and you can hear the backfires and that, and probably no flames, but you know, what can you do? All right guys, so I thoroughly hope you enjoyed the video on my R31. Hope this was a nice little video just to give you an insight. She's very, very dirty now, so I'm gonna take her home, give her a clean. So if you enjoyed the video guys, give this one a like for me, that'd mean the world to me. Also consider subscribing if you haven't, and see more content of this wonderful chick magnet behind me. So we'll see you in the next video. See you later.